In 2010, I started warning people about the central banks, how they were taking over. Man, I was made fun of, most of the time not to my face. But man, the reaction I would get when I would tell people, hey, these banks are taking over. It's not Big Brother, it's these banks. Nobody listened to me. But you know, and why would they, right? I'm not a college educated person. I'm just, for whatever reason, somebody who can see. But I made a video the other day where I said I don't have a bank account. And I was actually surprised at all the messages I got, some through DM, some through the actual video. How do you survive without a bank account? How do you do this without a bank account? And if I didn't respond to you, I mean, I make videos to help people, but I'm still a private man. You know, I'm sorry for not, you know, sharing all my business with people, but I'm addressing it through this video. Because I believe people are asking the wrong question. Instead of wondering how I survive, the question should be this: why have we gotten to the place where we have to go through the banks for everything? I think that's the question. See, for a lot of my life, I trusted money more than I did God. When I would get a big paycheck, I would feel good. But when I would be broke, I would be scared. When it should be the opposite, the exact opposite, the other way around. You know, I've watched God move in my life. And now, today I trust God more than I do money. I don't make a lot of money. I don't need to. And things are taken care of for me supernaturally. But I'm going to tell you a story. I was doing a job, when I was a contractor, I was doing a job one time, and it was a sheetrock job. And I was spread thin. I had spent all my money. But I needed one thing from this job, on this job. I needed a sanding stick. We call it an ugly stick down here in the South, at least I do. But it's a sanding stick with a swivel on it. That's all I needed for that job. I didn't have the money for it. That's how broke I was. I had 2 days worth of work before I could get this big check. So I was in a rock and a hard spot. I wasn't going to ask anybody, hey, can I borrow some money? I wasn't going to do that. I had a couple of options, but I was like, no, I can't do that. Because what if I get into a wreck? Well, anything could happen, and what if I couldn't pay them back? So I went home that evening, and me and my wife went for a walk. I was pretending like everything was okay. But all I needed was an ugly stick. I think it cost like 20 bucks. With the sandpaper, probably be about $35. That's all I needed. So me and my wife decided to go for a walk, and we're walking, and the neighbors down the road, they'd been moving for about 3 weeks. And they always had trash out at the end of the driveway, you know, from cleanup. And it was all trash, always. But we're walking, and while I'm talking to my wife, I'm trying to pretend like I'm not nervous and I'm not thinking about that job. Because in my mind, I need money. How do I get money? So we're walking, and we walk past that house, and they have all their trash out again. It's all trash, nasty. It was cleanup. But in that trash, there was a stick sticking up out of a trash can. I see that stick, and I'm like, I don't know. We walk past it. We go a long way, and on the way back, I just can't get that stick off my mind, out of my mind. Well, I'm on the way back. I say, I'm going to go and grab that stick out of the trash can. I grabbed the stick and I pulled it up, and you know what it was? it was the exact sanding pole I needed. And it was almost brand new. I'd been watching these people throw trash out for 3 weeks. Nothing was good that they threw out, nothing. But the moment I needed that sanding stick, that sanding pole, didn't have the money for it, God gave it to me, sticking out of that trash can. You know, we've allowed the central banks, who are Satan's people, by the way, after every war, false flag, and all that stuff, they have taken over. They have gained a little bit more control. In 1913, what did you need a bank account for? Because the third central bank came in 1913. Today, what do you need a bank account for? Everything. We trust them and their currency more than we trust God. But guess what? See, they designed their system to fail because they wanted the CBDC to take complete and total control. But the beauty of this thing, God brought in a man named Mr. T, who is our Moses, to go against them. And if I remember correctly, I think they're trying to push their CBDC through again. Yeah, you ought to look who owns the rights to that crown thing back in 20. Because I think it was old Jacob over there, Mr. Red Shield himself. You know, Satan has infiltrated this country, the whole world. But in America, we have put our trust in that almighty dollar that loses its value. It's losing. It was designed to lose its value so they could push us into the digital. See, right now, the good guys want the system to fail, and so do the bad guys. Because the good guys and the bad guys both have a system. The thing right now is, whose system are we going to go in? Are we going to go into the central bank system, which we know what they've done? They've enslaved us, made us need their currency while they've been killing it and loaning it to us. We borrow their money and pay it back. That's what inflation is. So are we going to trust them who have enslaved us with debt, or are we going to trust old Mr. T and what he's doing over here? Because whatever you say about Mr. T, he's on the side of God. God is using him. Look at gold and silver. What did he just do with this bill that so many people are like, oh my God, this big disastrous bill? No. Read it before you say that. We fight over crumbs and everything. The media, the screens and all that give us so much to argue about. And we take our attention away from what the central banks have been doing. And that's how they've been able to do it since 1913. They've been slowly boiling the frog. And we've been letting them because we've been distracted. You know, in 1970s, whenever they pretty much, that was a power grab. I think we went off the gold standard. And everybody didn't see it. Why? Because their money, they got more money in their paychecks. And that's all people seen. They didn't realize it was because the value of the currency was going down. You know, I make this video because, and who knows, they might block this video because some of the stuff I said, but I don't care. I'm not afraid of the central banks because I know their God, and their God is a loser God, a loser. The God that's in me is greater than them. I worship the Most High God. They serve a loser God. That's why they lie and cheat. See, I don't have to lie. I don't have to. They lie, always. See, with Satan, will give you 99% truth, which is always 100% lie. God's always true. And God's on his own. The Most High God, the Father of Jesus Christ, he stands alone. We've trusted these central banks because we've been distracted. And they've taken over. So if you want to know how I pay my bills without a bank account, in a nutshell, to make a long story short, I trust God. I hope this message helps somebody.